So for a few years, I wanted to learn a martial art. And back in 2022, around 2 years ago, I took myself to Google Maps and looked for martial arts gyms in my city here in the UK. Found a place that mixes kickboxing with Muay Thai. So you have your traditional kickboxing, where it's just punches and kicks, and you combine it with knees and elbows from Muay Thai. I went to the next available trial class and decided to stick to it. Currently, I'm on my fifth belt, the purple belt out of a 10 belt system, and I'm working my way up to black. So of course there are loads of athletic and fighting specific benefits that I've gained, but specifically I'm making this video to talk about how you as a young man can benefit from martial arts as part of your life. If like me, you didn't have your father around, it's quite likely that you haven't received any real guidance in terms of channeling your testosterone and natural aggression in a healthy, constructive way. And as a result, you might have misused your aggression and gotten into trouble for it, perhaps getting detentions in school, or even worse, getting in trouble with the law. Or maybe you were in the other extreme where you never really learned to develop your aggression and you haven't had the ability to stand up for yourself when an injustice was done to you and you wish you would have. So if you're at either of those extremes, you're looking to get towards that middle ground where you're able to be assertive and stand up for yourself and your needs without becoming a bully and oppressor. As men, we don't really receive guidance from society or from school on how we should act and understand our natural aggression. And therefore, we feel lost. And your father, the one person who would be consistently by your side, who might be able to teach you these things, if he's not present, then it's very easy to feel lost. Even if you did have your father around, if he wasn't a good role model and set a negative example, then you're just as lost as the person that doesn't have a father. And maybe you have even picked up some bad habits of his. So let's run through what pursuing martial arts has done for me and what it can do for you. The first thing I learned is that the basics are fundamental and non-negotiable. As you go about your martial arts training, you start learning fancy combos and doing more difficult kicks that look really cool and everything. But every single class would still start with throwing your regular punches, your jabs, your crosses, your hooks, because they're the building blocks of your fighting style. And without them, everything else falls apart. Doing the essentials to a good standard, like having your guard up at all times and executing your strikes well, will put you ahead of most people who don't train. Because something is simple doesn't mean that it's easy. So how is that relevant to life? Well, let's imagine that you are running a multinational corporation. You have millions, tens of millions of customers around the world. Do you think that customer service now matters less than when you're a corner store serving 5, 10 customers? No, it matters more, if anything. Because of your scale and reputation, the stakes are even higher. So if you get a negative review, then that's going to spread and your reputation could be tarnished and you could be losing millions, billions. If you're in school or university and you're writing a really elaborate essay on a complex topic, are you suddenly going to stop using proper grammar and make spelling mistakes? No. Maths, if you're doing advanced geometry or calculus, are you going to start getting addition and subtraction wrong? The same goes for your character. Let's say that you achieved some level of success in a metric, whether that's academics or sports or your career. Are you suddenly going to start being condescending to people? Will you stop saying hello to the janitor when you pass them in the hallway? Are you going to stop having integrity and doing the right thing even when no one's watching? Are you going to stop getting up early and doing meditation and going to the gym consistently when you were doing those things before you ever had any of this success? You see, the fundamentals are things that we should hold dear because they're the ones that have enabled that success to happen, and they're the ones that will ensure that your success is long lasting. So as you walk through life and your character as a young man develops, always keep in mind the fundamentals and never give them up, no matter how flashy or flamboyant your life becomes, because those things can go away just as quickly. If I stopped having my guard up in kickboxing, I would get knocked out in sparring, whether I'm a black belt or a white belt. The fundamentals always hold true. Second thing I learned is that you must respect the process of achieving a goal. Early on in my training, I learned that my technique was very sloppy and that I had loads to learn. I was looking at the black belts demonstrating the exercises in the class and realized how far away I was from their level of technique. I also learned that you can't really go for speed, power, and technique all at once and expect it to come off well. You need to start learning the technique by going slowly and without much power at first. And it's quite boring. You don't really feel like a badass hitting the pads. But those are the formative phases where you build up the good habits, you build up your footwork, you build up your stance, the fundamentals that I was talking about, which then allow you to start executing them with more power and higher speed up until you can perform them just purely using muscle memory. And that's when it actually looks the way you imagine it to look. Understand that any skill comes with a process where you will initially suck at it and it's the hardest it's ever going to be because you won't even enjoy it since you'll be bad. But know that it will get better. And as you start seeing progress and results, you'll feel motivated. And then the snowball effect will kick in and it'll be easier to keep going, which is exactly what happened to my kickboxing training. For example, right now you're looking to have more women in your life. Don't just expect that you'll be able to walk up to a woman on the street, get her number, get her on a date, charm her, and then make her your girlfriend. Of course, you should always push for that outcome, but chances are it's likely not going to happen. Even if you hold eye contact or smile or say a sentence to a girl, that's still progress. Same with your career. If you're currently trying to get a job in a competitive field, maybe the first tier of success will not be to actually get the offer, but it will be to have a first round interview. Maybe it's to submit 5 applications a day. You need to create this process for yourself, break up the big goal into small, manageable chunks that you can actually feel like you can get through. And that will give you the momentum you need to actually keep going. Third thing I learned is that power comes with responsibility. Many martial arts will teach you to exercise aggression only when it's absolutely necessary and to not misuse the skills that you gain. This is something that will be enforced by the coaches during your drills and also during your sparring sessions. When you start sparring, you realize the amount of damage you could cause another person, and by the same coin, the amount of damage that the other person could cause you. That's going to make you think twice about starting an altercation in your daily life for a stupid reason, because the cost of doing that, especially in an uncontrolled environment like the street, is even greater than during your sparring. So you're going to be a lot calmer in situations when tensions do rise. Firstly, because of your training that you know you can fall back on, but also because you understand that a fight can lead to serious consequences. So your brain will kick into gear to look for ways of avoiding the altercation if possible. If it does come down to fighting, then at least you have some skills to protect yourself and your loved ones. Ironically, the more you train, the less likely you are to get into a fight to begin with. Pretty much everyone who's trained martial arts has said that. The fourth thing I learned is that you can create a sense of brotherhood through competition. When you're in a sparring session and there's another guy who wants to hit you and you want to hit him, you're both in this primal state of controlled aggression where you're testing each other. Sometimes you're hurting or you're tired, but you can't stop or drop your guard down because the other guy is still coming at you. And to me, it's the most direct form of competition. And you've heard me rant on these videos about the importance of competing with other men and how it makes us better. When the session ends, you hug it out and you have this mutual respect and sense of camaraderie between you, and it feels amazing. That's how we used to bond as men not even that long ago. We would wrestle or box each other and then be best friends, and it's still done in some circles like the military, for example. Look at the movie Fight Club for this too. Our main character and the others that he recruits feel lost in their lives and only start feeling alive once they actually join this underground cult and start fighting with other men. I've also heard me talk about how, as men these days, we're so deprived of brotherhood. And I really think that joining a martial arts club is one of the best ways that you can start building that. So, actionable step for you: go on Google Maps right now and search for martial arts gyms in your area. Choose anyone that takes your fancy. I recommend something like kickboxing or MMA, but if you want to try out jiu-jitsu or taekwondo or wrestling, then go for it. And book one of the trial classes. Most of them do it for free anyway. If you feel a bit intimidated or a bit weird about going for the first time, just bring a friend along. It usually takes overcoming the initial resistance and fear of the unknown. But once you've actually turned up to 1 or 2 classes, you start getting to a rhythm and you kind of understand the vibe of the club and you meet some of the people, you link up with them. And then it's going to be much easier for you to actually stick to it. If you're new to the channel, we're a community of men raised by single mothers and men raised without father figures who are on this journey to improve themselves, become more capable, and lead more fulfilling lives. If this sounds like you, then we'd love for you to join us. If you found this video useful and it's inspired you to try out a martial art, and if you already are training martial arts, then tell me about the benefits you experienced in the comments. As always, you can join our communities using the links in the description. And if you did find the video useful, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.